Well, welcome to the Murrell home, here with my guest David Fowler, who is site manager here. And David, we have some exciting things on this table, and I want you to tell us in general what they are and where you got them.
Well, Beth, what we have here is some of the artifacts that have been donated to us that belong to the Murrell family.
Okay, now let's talk about this. Let's talk about this first, and you just elaborate.
All right. Well, this is a cutlery set. It was manufactured in Sheffield, England. And I believe the maker on this one here is Rogers. And these are Staghorn, of course, steel bladed. They're
and bone handles.
Yes, ma'am. That's Staghorn.
Staghorn bone handles. And it would be commonly called a carving set.
Right. It is a carving set.
This would have held the piece of meat, whatever it was, and carved with the big carver and the fork. All right, and then let's move on here.
And this is a smaller set of similar to that one. They're also made in Sheffield, and this is made by Rogers and Company, and so it's just a little bit smaller, more delicate set than.
Yes, but still a meat carving.
Exactly.
And these are bone also?
Yes, ma'am.
Those are bone also.
So.
All right, and typically these were utensils that would have been used by a wealthier family.
Right.
And of course the Murrells were a wealthy
Extremely
family.
wealthy, yes, ma'am.
All right, now let's move on here, David.
Well, what we have here is a set of 3 spoons. These were manufactured by the Ward brothers of Philadelphia. They we're not sure exactly how many was probably originally in this set, but these are the three surviving ones that we have, and they are plate silver, and they're unlike a lot of our silverware today, they're actually very, very thin and kind of delicate. So they're
and I think in those, you said you didn't know how many pieces there were, but a service would have been for 8 or 12, or perhaps even a double service.
Yeah.
In your dining room here, they could serve elegantly as many as 20 people at the table.
Exactly, and there was a large extended family around around the Rosses.
Right.
And so at any one given time, they could have had 15, 20 people that were in the house to dine or to stay for a period of time.
Exactly. So, and the meals would have been prepared by slaves.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, the kitchen was not attached to the house.
Right. It stood separate.
Stood separate from the house, which was typical of Southern architecture.
Exactly.
Now then, I love this, David. Now talk about this.
This is a daguerreotype of who we believe to be Minerva. If we take it to a professional, they can take it all apart, and usually the photographer would engrave on the back of it who the subject is and his name and the date that it's taken. So one of these days, whenever we find a conservator who can disassemble it, and it needs to have a little bit of curatorial work done to it, but we believe it's Minerva. It's the only one of the girls that of the Ross girls that we don't have a true image of, and it doesn't match up with any of the others. So
well, she's beautiful.
She very much.
She's beautiful, and as I looked at it more closely, I looked at her hairstyle and clothing, and you date those to the 1850s.
Yes, ma'am.
And she died in 1855, so
right.
That would have been...
Yeah, right about the time that she started becoming ill. So.
And I noticed in it that she has on hoops, because it's obvious as you look at it closer, which would have been true in the 1850s. Yeah. And the hair parted in the center. She has beautiful features, lovely jewelry, and you think, I couldn't see it well enough, but you think that is fur,
Yeah, she has a shawl wrapped around her, and it definitely has the appearance of fur.
So. And now, tell us, you said a daguerreotype. Tell us a little bit about that, if you can.
This is the first photographic images that came out. So this is the first process of it, and it goes from from the daguerreotype all the way up to the to the tin type and the paper type. And there's actually a process in between the tin types and the daguerreotypes that it's printed, the photograph is actually etched onto glass.
Yes, I wanted you to mention that.
Yeah.
Now this one is etched on...
It's on tin.
It's on tin.
Yes, this is a daguerreotype.
Okay. But the glass did come in between...
It was between this process and the tin types.
All right.
And actually one of the artifacts that we did receive with all of these was a glass plate of Amanda, but I could set it out here, but you can only see it in certain light, so the effects of it would be lost.
But this is Minerva, you're pretty sure.
We're pretty
she
sure.
was the first wife. And they married back in Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
And in fact, I think it's interesting, her mother married her father against her parents' wishes, and Minerva married George Murrell against her parents' wishes. So,
right.
you know, it came into interplay.
But she married well. And he married very well too.
Yes, so. they married well, yeah. But the parents were not really enthused about that marriage.
Yeah.
In fact,
and I think it was the age difference that they were really they were really
worried about.
Yes,
and it wasn't elopement, I believe.
It was.
Yes.
So the story goes, yes. We're told. Yeah.
Now then, talk about because these are fascinating, and you know, women love jewelry. So talk about, but although this is not necessarily a woman's, that's
right. This is a man's watch fob. It's got a grosgrain ribbon on it. This little piece up here would actually have another connection to it. It has a clasp that's missing off of it, but that would attach to the ring on your watch, and then this part of it would hang out of your pocket as a decoration. On the other end of it, it has a gold fixture there, and then it has a topaz jewel in the end of it.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Oh, yes. Now, and for young people, these were for pocket watches. They were not for wrist watches.
That's right. Yeah, you carried your timepiece in your pocket.
Right, right.
And so
I'm wearing a 1916 piece that I've put on a band, but my father gave it to my mother in 1916, and it was not a wristwatch. It was worn on a chain.
It's
now
this is a set of reading glasses, and these belong to. Actually, we just received this yesterday, so it's a fairly new piece. We haven't got to do a lot of research on it yet, but these are a set of reading glasses, and they belong to Fanny Ross Murrell, which is the grandmother of the lady who has donated us this. And the other piece is a lapel pin, and we have a painting in one of the upstairs bedrooms of Mary Jane.
Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later.
And it's you can see that pin on her lapel. So. And
this is George Murrell.
And that is George Murrell. This is dated 1842 on the back of it. If you flip it over, it has a lock of probably George's hair underneath of a glass in it. And this would be something that Minerva or Amanda would carry around as sort of, like we carry photographs in our billfold. So which is what that is. But it's
he was a handsome man. All right, we're going to have to take a station break. So don't go away, people. We'll be right back.